crank up the truck, let it run. Pull it off. The only bad thing about these track machines that we have is just getting up and down, on and off of it. Everything that you do, you got to climb up and mess with, and the tracks and all that stuff is you can slip off of it. Like it just rained just a second ago for about 2 or 3 minutes, and it wets those cleats up. Well, you can slip off those things real easy if you're not careful. It'll take about 18 to 20 minutes to fill that thing all the way up. It holds 268 gallons in the back. The bottom about a foot or 14 inches or so is concrete. And then the tank sits on top of that concrete in there for all that's your counterweight back here on the back. And I can tell it too when I burn that fuel down. I can really tell the way that the machine feels and all that. There's no need to clean the tracks out right now either. I have people constantly say stuff like that to me about it because it's raining every day, and you could clean them out every day. And that stuff, when I chisel that stuff out, it kills my neck and my back because when you're hitting with a sharpshooter with a spade and you hit those metal supports on those rollers and stuff, it just jars through my shoulders and my neck. It shocks them so bad, and I just can't take it. I just heck with it. I just let it go like it is and just deal with it. You know, I clean it out occasionally when we're gonna do something big. I'll do it, but I don't worry about it. Here's my tickets here. I'm gonna drop them down. I'm listening to the most current version of, or the most current podcast episode of Fistful of Dirt. Mossy Oaks Fistful of Dirt. Or Mossy Oak Properties Fistful of Dirt. I'll get it right in a second. Alright, right there. And it's a good one too. The prior 2 weeks, Cuz had me on there. We talked about chainsaws, and then we talked about firewood. And this week here is a gentleman named Dwight Griffin that got hurt in a farming accident right there. Lives right there by Cuz. His place is right there by him, and I'm not quite halfway through it yet, and it's a good one. So I'm gonna throw some trees on the truck, get this truck loaded, and where he can get to the mill, and then I'm gonna listen to this podcast. I'm kind of engrossed in it. Cuz does a fantastic job. He and his daughter Lauren do it. Lauren produces it, and they do a really good job. I have listened to a bunch of podcasts now, a bunch of different people, different other people who put them out, and it's so well done. It's just in a different atmosphere. But anyhow, I'm gonna throw a few sticks on here and get this podcast back going and run it, and listen to it. And then I'll film some more as the day is progressing here. But been in the woods today, gonna load logs like I've done for seems like forever. Looking like we might get some rain today too. The way that it is. So far, this summer has turned out to be a very wet summer. I think probably just about everybody logging around here is probably cutting what we would consider a wintertime ground. And you would normally right now you would be in some lower ground where it would be kind of starting to dry up, because I mean we're in the middle of July now, and it's normal to get some rain, but just not as much as what we have been getting here in recent months. But so what everybody has to do right now, logging wise, is you have to kind of move up into the hills and work in the hills where you can work, and that's what we're doing. Is we're in the hills. Let's see, I think this one on the right, yeah, that on the top right is a pole. I'm gonna drop it out. Those are my poles right there. Singling it out. Slide these on up and over. There we go. So anywho, we're gonna roll on. I'll be back. So in a matter of shoot, what time is it? Less than 30 minutes. Y'all remember that pile when I started the video a while ago? Let me spin around here where you can take a gander at it now. And it's about gone right there. Get this truck finished up and all of that over there will be gone, because it's probably going to take all of it, I do believe. But this is the last truck on the first round, so that's going to give us time to kind of replenish the pile a little bit before they get back. I got to fuel. Once I get this truck loaded, I got to track over. I got to have some fuel. You can see my fuel gauge right there. It's just about on empty. Move a little bit and grab a couple more. Should load him. If it don't, it's gonna be bad close. There we go. This is here. That'll do it. I got him. So I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the Fistful of Dirt podcast, and what I talked about earlier in the video, I'm going to play a clip from it here, and I hope it picks up pretty good on the audio on the GoPro. Cuz offered to send me a raw clip of it, but I told him I didn't want a raw clip. I wanted it to be a little bit rough. So just to kind of set the stage, this guy named Dwight Griffith that has a place over there by Cuz, I believe it was 2015 September. They're getting ready to fix their food plots up like what we all do here in the southeast, deer hunters and duck hunters and outdoor enthusiasts. And he went to try to cross one of his duck holes to make a shortcut to go to another spot, and he fooled around and got stuck on his tractor. He's on a 100 horsepower cab Merit tractor, and the grass was real tall and deep. He done seen a water moccasin in there where he was at, so he was gonna get out of the tractor and try to crawl around on the back of the disc. He was pulling a 16-foot wide hydraulic disc, and he wasn't gonna get on the ground because it was real snaky right there. But anyhow, when he stepped back onto the disc, this is where the story is gonna pick up at. He stepped on one of the tires of the disc, and when he did, the tire rolled, and then he fell and went down between the disc. Of course, it wasn't moving or anything, but then the things that ensued after this, because it knocked him out and all, and it took a little while for his buddies to find him, and that's where I'm going to pick up this story at. So I'm just going to kind of let y'all listen.
Those and that kind of stuff. But so I stepped on one of the tires thinking it was down on the ground, and it wasn't. It was up in the air. So it spun me to the point to where I went up in the air and fell down in between the discs.
And now you're knocked out.
It knocked me out for, you know, I want to say minutes. It probably wasn't 30 seconds. I don't know, but it knocked me out. And when I came through, when I came to, the main thing I was thinking is, okay, I gotta be bleeding somewhere. I knew my leg was messed up. I knew my knee was busted because I could feel it. I remember it when I woke up that wasn't right, the way it was twisted. And so I started reaching for my head, trying to see if there was blood, and you couldn't tell because I was laying in water. And I had my phone on me, and so I tried to call Sergeant Major to tell him to come get me, and there's no service.
Sorry,
It's horrible. And
I'm telling you, that place is horrible. It's somewhere else, because you can leave the driveway and you got 3 or 4 bars. You get there and it's gone.
it's a sinkhole for cellular service.
That's what it is.
So I'm coming in and out of it, and I call and I try and call the other gentleman that was with Sergeant Major, and I just couldn't get a call to go through. So I start texting, and one time I look up and that snake is still, by this time it's on my right side, and I remember looking at that snake going, Lord, if I don't die from this injury, then the snake's gonna come over here and eat me alive, because I'm not as scared of them as you are, but I don't like them.
No, you're not. Now, for me, we're going to go over how bad you were hurt, but if I hadn't been decapitated, I'd have levitated out of that spot when I saw that snake.
Well,
I tell you, we all have different stories of different things that either happened to us or happened to somebody else. And this is kind of a worst case scenario right here. He owns a lot of property over there, so it's a pretty big place. And he had 2 friends over there with him too. This Sergeant Majors that was with him is the one that kind of took care with him. He's basically he works in the ER kind of part-time now, so he's trauma trained and all of that. And he was lucky enough to be able to get a text out to contact one of them. They talked about in the first part of the podcast about how they always have a plan. They let each other know where each one's at. Well, Dwight kind of deviated from his original plan, and he didn't let them know exactly what he was going to do, what his next step was going to be. And when everything went down and he fell and he went between the disc and it knocked him out, and when he came to and he got the text to go out, they wasn't real sure. They knew kind of where he should have been, you know, when the text come through, by what he kind of described him. But it took him a little bit to get to him. Luckily, everything worked out, and it, you know, he's fine and all that. But it could have turned out a lot different than what it did. But just, I love stories like that. I love hearing other people, and that's the thing with the YouTube stuff that I really enjoy is learning about others and hearing their life story or whatever it is. And so we're coming up on probably one of the biggest times of the year. We're in the mid-July, about to be rolling into August, and that's when people kind of start getting the ball rolling as far as the thought process of their planning, what they're going to do for food plots, you know, starting to get their tractors ready to bush hog, disc, and all that, because late September, early October is when we kind of do it around here, and a lot of tractors out and about. But as I said earlier in the thing, they do a phenomenal job on their podcast. Cuz and Lauren do, and I'm gonna do one too. It's just I'm having a challenge of trying to find the equipment. B&H Photo doesn't have it. Adorama's out of stock on it. I can get a piece of it at Best Buy, but then they don't have the other part of it, and I can order. So it's just going to take a little bit with the, it's one of those COVID deals. You know how it is right now. It's just kind of hard to find stuff. But the biggest thing about it is, on some of the other podcasts I've listened to here in the last couple of months, to kind of see their style and things like that, is a lot of them are kind of like what I would call just kind of they're kind of half, not downing them or anything, but they're kind of like halfway done. And I don't want anything this halfway done, because I feel like on my YouTube a lot of times I don't do as good a job as I can because I'm so rushed on it trying to put everything together, and it kind of limits me on as far as the editing quality that I would like to do, because I don't have the time to necessarily do it. But when I go to do a podcast, I want it to be at a much different level, and I want to get my YouTube to a much different level. However, to bring the YouTube to that much different level, it's gonna be to where I can't put out a video every day, because you can't do the editing stuff and do it daily and work 3 full-time jobs like I do and pull it all off at the same time, and have a family life and planning a wedding, and then got a senior this fall. So we'll make it happen. But I just want it to be good. I want it to kind of mirror. I won't be able to mirror what Lauren and them do and Cuz and them do, but I'd like to they're my target. I would like to aim at them. So I just wanted to share that. It's nothing that they wanted me to do. I asked Cuz, I texted him, I said, "You care if I clip some of it?" He's like, "No, man." He said, "I'd love it if you do that." So there you go. I'll be back in a little bit and film some more here while we're out here in the woods. I like the podcast stuff primarily because you don't have to watch anything. You can sit here and I can work. Because if I play a YouTube video over here, I want to watch it, and so I have to kind of watch it when I'm not, stacking any wood or loading trucks or something. But the podcast, you can play it riding down the road or, in a machine, tractor, anything like that.